With the 22/23 season officially over in all the top leagues in Europe, players will be on the move. And while some will go for huge fees, there are several superstars who will cost absolutely nothing. And so in this video, we will take a look at the 10 best free agents available to sign this summer. The first and most obvious name on this list is none other than Lionel Messi. When Messi shockingly left Barcelona in 2021, he signed a 2-year deal with PSG, which he has now completed. And since he has no interest in staying in Paris any longer, the likes of Inter Miami, Al-Hilal as well as former club Barcelona are all chasing his signature. Now Messi has a simple choice to make. Either he makes an emotional return to Barcelona and continues to play at the highest level, or he drops down the levels and makes ridiculous money playing in the so-called lesser leagues outside the continent. The option he chooses remains to be seen. Speaking of PSG, longtime rival and recent teammate Sergio Ramos has also announced that he will be following Messi out the door. The 37-year-old veteran struggled with injuries in his first season, but this season he's been fit again and proven that he is still a valuable asset for any team in the world. And just like most veteran superstars these days, the most likely destination for Ramos is the Middle East, and a link-up with Ronaldo at Al Nassr is on the cards. But there is an outside chance of Ramos returning to boyhood club and Europa League winners, Sevilla. Now moving on to some players in the Premier League, Jesse Lingard is a free agent after being released by Nottingham Forest. He only signed for them last summer, but after 0 goal contributions in 17 league games, he has been let go. At 30 years old, he is in the peak of his powers, but will command a hefty wage which rules out most of the clubs in Europe. Financially and lifestyle-wise, Inter Miami seems like the best option, but if he's willing to take a wage cut, West Ham could also be an option. Another 30-year-old ex-Manchester United player who will be chased by several clubs this summer is Wilfried Zaha. For years it's been anticipated that Zaha will move on to a so-called bigger club, yet Palace have always managed to keep him in South London. But with his contract being up at the end of this month, they cannot keep him any longer unless he signs a new contract, and at 30 years old, this is the last chance to sign for a big club. If he wants to play at the highest level, i.e. Champions League, Atletico Madrid are the most likely destination, as they have inquired about him. But if he wants to make the most money, Qatar side Al Sadd are offering him a £10 million per year deal, and if he wants to stay at his boyhood club, he can do so as Palace are ready to break their wage system and offer him a £150k a week contract. Now if you were Zaha, which option would you choose? After Leicester's shock relegation from the Premier League, a mass player exit is expected at the club. One player already confirmed to be leaving is Belgian international Yerry Mina. In the past, he's been linked with some massive clubs such as Manchester United and Arsenal, but his performances have declined significantly, meaning clubs of that stature seem unlikely at this point to sign him. But he has only just turned 26 and is definitely worth a gamble, especially on a free transfer. At this moment, Aston Villa seem to be the most likely club to get him, and that's probably the right level for him at the moment. From one Belgian to another, Eden Hazard is also a free agent after his contract with Real Madrid was terminated. He had a massively disappointing 4-year spell with Real Madrid, which he spent most of the time injured or on the bench, and now the two parties have gone their separate ways. According to Fabrizio Romano, Hazard is still deciding on whether to retire or to carry on playing. But at 32 years old, despite the injuries, it would be a massive shame to see Hazard retire in this manner, and chances are he will carry on playing for at least another year. The Middle East, as always, is a viable option, and a return to Chelsea is also possible, but unlikely considering his fitness issues and the high intensity of the Premier League. Question for the Chelsea fans, would you take him back? Over at Italy, Juventus midfielder Adrien Rabiot is also looking for a new club following his contract expiry at Juventus. He's been arguably the club's best player this season, and with Juventus fighting numerous allegations and playing Conference League, he will be looking for a Champions League club this summer. Long-term admirers Manchester United seem to be interested once again, but so is former club PSG. Regardless, Rabiot will be definitely playing Champions League football next season. But Rabiot isn't the only French midfielder available on a free, as N'Golo Kante looks set to leave Chelsea. Admittedly, the Frenchman is not quite the player he was a few years ago, being 32 years old and struggling with injuries. But on his day, he is still one of the best defensive midfielders in the world. Pochettino is likely to want to work with the younger players, so it might be the right time for Kante to move on and take on one more challenge before he retires. One of the easier challenges is once again Saudi, as Al Nassr and Al-Ittihad are both interested in signing Kante, with the latter seeming the most likely. Whilst Kante still has something to offer at the top level, Would you really blame him for signing a multi-million-pound contract in Saudi, having already won everything there is to win in football? And on the topic of world-class players, how about signing Premier League winning, FA Cup winning and possibly Champions League winning Manchester City captain İlkay Gündoğan for absolutely nothing? His contract expires at the end of the month and Man City will struggle to keep him beyond this season as they are only willing to offer him a one-year contract. And if he ends up winning the Champions League, he would have completed football at Manchester City anyway, so it makes sense for him to look for a new challenge elsewhere. Arsenal are interested in signing him, but it makes no sense for him to stay in the country he's already won everything in. Instead, a move abroad is more likely, with Barcelona seen as the favourites for his signature for a long time. The once famous trio of Mane, Firmino and Salah will now be reduced to just Mo Salah, as Firmino has left as a free agent after an 8-year stay on Merseyside. He's won every trophy there is to win with Liverpool, but is now looking for a new challenge. And despite never known to be a prolific goalscorer and more of a technical, high work rate player, Firmino still managed 13 goals this season in all competitions, despite struggling with injuries and spending a lot of time on the bench. And with the Brazilian still only 31 years old, who wouldn't want a player who's won everything at club level? In fact, Real Madrid are looking to sign him up after the departure of club legend Benzema. And that was it for the 10 of the best free agents available this summer. Which free agent do you want your club to sign? Comment them down below and hit the like and subscribe button on your way out.